Hello everyone, wishing you a day full of joy and happiness. After the heartfelt family meal, Diep suddenly opens up about her past, a broken marriage that once left deep scars. Tears fall as painful memories unfold right before James's mother, the woman who could either become her shelter or the greatest obstacle. Will a mother's love be strong enough to erase prejudice and welcome Diep into this home? Or will the shadows of the past make their love falter even more? The answer will slowly be revealed in today's episode. And if you too feel for Diep, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. In the quiet corner of the cafe, pale sunlight streamed through the wide glass window, casting its glow on a wooden table, where 2 glasses of iced lemon tea still gave off a chill. Tung sat motionless, his gaze drifting into the distance, though inside him, waves were crashing. He was the man who had always stood silently behind Diep, ready to shield her at any cost. Yet his feelings had never been returned. That mixture of longing and helplessness left him vulnerable to sweet, poisonous whispers. Across from him sat John, a man fresh out of prison, yet his sharp eyes still carried the defiance of someone long accustomed to power. In the world of business, John had never accepted losing to James. Every failed deal, every lost contract was like a thorn embedded deep in his pride. And today, he wanted to use Tung to plant the seed of division between James and Diep. John leaned forward slightly, his voice low, tinged with calculation. James has already brought Diep too much pain. If he truly loved her, he would have married her long ago. Instead, it's all empty promises, leaving her to suffer again and again. Tung's brow furrowed. John's words struck straight into the hidden wound in his heart. For even Tung himself had often wondered, why did Diep choose James, the man who once made her cry, over the steady shoulder that had always been there for her? John's lips curved into a smile as he extended his hand, his tone firm and deliberate. If we work together, you can protect Diep while giving James a taste of defeat. What do you say? In that moment, Tung felt himself standing at a crossroads. He knew that handshake wasn't just agreeing to a plan. It was a betrayal of an old friend. And yet, his gaze dropped, his hand trembled, then slowly reached out, gripping John's hand tight. A sly smile spread across John's face. He had succeeded in sowing the seed of doubt within Tung, a critical step in his scheme to drive James and Diep apart. On the table, the 2 glasses of lemon tea still rippled faintly, but the air had thickened with suffocating tension. A single handshake, seemingly harmless, had just opened the door to a storm on the horizon. The scheme had already been sown, like a dark seed waiting for the day it would take root. Yet while cold handshakes were exchanged in a dim cafe, somewhere else, Diep carried on quietly with her simple daily life, her slender hands plucking each green gourd, holding on to a fragile piece amid storms gathering on the horizon. Amid endless rolling hills of green, her small figure disappeared behind rows of climbing vines. A plain brown blouse, mud-stained feet, and a bamboo basket strapped to her back, together painted a scene so serene as if lifted straight from an old countryside painting. With each snip of the shears against the crisp stems, the gentle thud of the fruit falling into the basket became the steady rhythm of a humble life. Diep cradled every green gourd with quiet care, her eyes glimmering with the joy of something simple. For to her, every drop of sweat exchanged for a few modest coins was proof that she still had a place, still belonged to this life. Morning sunlight filtered through the leaves, spilling across her sun-kissed face. A bead of sweat rolled down her cheek, merging with the fleeting smile that appeared as her basket grew heavy. For a brief moment, one no longer saw a woman scarred by loss, but a strong, unyielding soul, clinging to every fragment of peace life still had to offer. While Diep was lost in the rhythm of filling her basket with gourds, news about John left James restless and uneasy. In a small corner cafe, he sat with his comrade, discussing a danger that was becoming harder to ignore. The glass of iced tea before James had nearly melted away, the last cubes breaking apart with faint, brittle clicks. He sat in silence, tension etched across his weary eyes. The phone in his hand buzzed again and again, and the more headlines he read, the heavier his heart sank. Across from him, his trusted comrade watched quietly. On his tattooed arm lingered an old scar, a mark from years of life and death battles fought at James's side. Between them, words were scarce. A single glance was enough to convey the truth. A storm was indeed on its way. James lowered his head, his voice dropping, heavy with dread. John, he's out. He's never forgotten that old grudge. And this time, I fear he won't come just for me. Diep will be dragged into it too. His comrade clenched his fist, his tone sharp yet laced with worry. He's already called his men back together. I'm certain he's plotting something big. If we let our guard down, Diep will be the first to suffer. James lifted his head. Sunlight cut diagonally through the window pane, laying shifting shadows across his face. In his eyes lay a storm of turmoil, the fear of losing the woman he loved, entwined with a fierce determination to protect her at all costs. The cafe seemed to fall still. The ceiling fan creaked overhead. The soft clink of a spoon against glass rang out, each sound pressing against the heavy beat of his chest. And deep within James's gaze, a flame burned. A flame shaped by love yet fueled by fear. It smoldered quietly, a warning of the inevitable confrontation he knew was drawing near. The afternoon market was fading, the vendors' cries growing sparse. Diep bent down, her slender hands gently gathering the last of the gourds. The bamboo basket on her back was nearly empty, leaving only the raw green scent of leaves mingled with a trace of dusty evening air. On her sweat-dappled face, a small smile flickered, simple, yet enough to show the lightness in her heart. The road to James's house was bathed in sunset. Diep intended only to stop by, exchange a few words, and head home. But as soon as she stepped across the threshold, James's mother hurried out to greet her, her warm hand clasping tightly around the girl's own. "Stay for dinner with me, won't you? It's lonely eating alone." Diep froze, her heartbeat quickening. A flicker of hesitation stirred within her, but the gentle look in James's mother's eyes seemed to dissolve it all. She nodded softly, a shy smile playing at her lips. In the kitchen, glowing with warm light, the two women soon chattered as if they had known each other for years. Diep spoke a little about her day at the market, her voice still tinged with nervousness, while James's mother laughed from time to time, her face lit with an unmistakable joy. The clatter of knives, the trickle of running water, mingled with fragments of idle conversation. Slowly, the kitchen filled with warmth, not just the breath of everyday life, but also the quiet joy that began to bloom gently in Diep's heart. The low hum of an engine drifted in from the yard, and suddenly, the kitchen seemed to pause for a heartbeat. James's mother turned her head toward the door, her eyes lighting up. Diep instinctively clutched the hem of her blouse, her heart racing as the sound of familiar footsteps drew near. The door swung open. James stepped inside, his eyes gentle, his smile warm. In an instant, the small kitchen seemed to glow brighter. Dinner began. On the rustic wooden table sat a steaming bowl of soup, stir-fried greens, and fragrant braised fish. James placed food onto his mother's plate, then onto Diep's, and Diep, shy and flustered, timidly returned the gesture. Her smile was bashful, yet her eyes sparkled. Every word, every soft laugh that echoed through the room was enough to wash away the weariness of a long day. Amid that cozy air, James's mother suddenly spoke, her voice tender with affection. "It's late now, Diep. Stay here tonight and get some rest. I won't feel at ease if you walk home alone." Diep's eyes widened, hesitation flickering across her face as if to decline. But James gave a quiet nod, his gaze reassuring. "Stay. This place will always have room for you." In that moment, a blush rose on Diep's cheeks under the golden glow of the lamp. The small kitchen, the simple meal, and the warm invitation from James's mother, all of it wrapped around her like a family's embrace, letting her feel with piercing clarity. Perhaps this was the home her heart had been yearning for all along. Night had fallen, and the house lay in silence. After the warm dinner, James's mother tidied up carefully, then led Diep to a small, neatly kept guest room. The golden lamp cast its glow across a fresh quilt, the faint fragrance of clean fabric filling the air with a gentle warmth. She sat beside Diep, her warm hand closing softly around the girl's slender fingers. Her voice was tender, low, and unhurried. "Stay here, child. With me by your side, you have nothing to worry about." Diep lowered her head. In her eyes, turmoil and hesitation flickered. For so long she had wanted to confess the truth, to lay everything bare no matter what the outcome. Gathering her courage, her voice trembled. "Ma'am, I am truly grateful for the kindness you've shown me. I want, tonight, to tell you everything about my life. I don't want to hide any more." Her words caught in her throat, but at last, the years of silence burst forth. Diep spoke of her childhood, orphaned early, struggling alone through poverty, and loneliness. Then, as a young woman, she entered a marriage she thought would offer refuge, only to be branded a burden because she could not bear a child. The scolding words, the cold stares pressed down upon her, until she was cast out, carrying nothing but a shattered heart. At this point, her voice broke. Tears welled in her eyes, her trembling hands resting on her lap. The painful memories surged back, making her lips quiver, unable to form another word. James's mother sat frozen, her vision blurred with tears, her heart twisting at the suffering this fragile girl had endured. Slowly, she reached out, wrapping her arms around Diep's thin shoulders, pulling her close. Her voice was steady, warm, soothing. "My child, yes, that past was painful, but it cannot dictate the happiness you deserve now. You've endured too much already. From this day on, don't think of yourself as alone. I too lost my father young, so I understand deeply. Consider this your family." Her words flowed like a cool stream over old wounds. Diep broke down, sobbing into her embrace. Yet these were no longer tears of bitterness, but tears of release, tears of gratitude. For the first time in her life, she had found an embrace that truly belonged to her.